Hello, fellow disciple, and welcome to Discipleship 301. I'm Craig Drury, the Director of Discipleship at Green Valley United Methodist Church. This is the third of our 4 survey classes offered here at Green Valley. The goal of this class is for us to understand what it means to be a disciple and to explore potential next steps in our discipleship paths. Allow God to nudge you forward in your journey as we spend these next few minutes together. Let's take a moment to review what being a disciple means. At Green Valley United Methodist Church, we have defined a disciple as one who is intentionally growing deeper in Christ's love. With this understanding of what a disciple is, we've identified 3 areas or broader steps in these discipleship path. Those steps are getting connected, stronger, and out there. While a disciple will be maturing in all 3 of these steps throughout his or her life, there's a progression we typically follow. Most often, a disciple will first get connected in one of our faith communities. People generally belong before they believe. This belonging occurs through worship and hospitality. Then as a disciple begins to take next steps, there's a hunger to get stronger or be like Jesus. This growth occurs as we are open to Jesus and then obeying Jesus. Finally, this natural growth process ends up in the disciple wanting to get out there by joining Jesus in service and generosity to others. Green Valley intentionally offers next steps in all 3 of these broader discipleship categories. There's an opportunity to both experience and then to help be part of offering these next steps. As mentioned earlier, we have developed 4 discipleship survey classes to help us consider our next steps. You have already been part of Discipleship 101, where we explore and review the beginning steps of who we are and where we are headed both as United Methodists and followers of Jesus. Additionally, you've taken Discipleship 201, where we explore the discipleship process in more depth and how we get stronger through small groups. In just a moment, we will talk about Discipleship 301. However, the 4th survey class is Discipleship 401. Here we consider how we can partner with others to help them in their discipleship path. Our focus today is on how we can get out there in service and mission. In today's 301, we will explore how we can apply our faith through service. We will take a look at some brief demographics, who is here around us, current service opportunities, new service opportunities, and then introduce our spiritual gifts inventory called Shape Survey. Matthew 25:44 reads, "Then they will reply, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger or naked or sick, or in prison and didn't do anything to help you?' Then he will answer, 'I will assure you that when you haven't done it for one of the least of these, you haven't done it for me.'" Part of discipleship is moving from an attitude of serve us to a life of service. This service will help us not only to put our needs or concerns in perspective, but open our eyes to those hurting or needing help around us. Albert Outler, a well-known Methodist theologian, has this to say: "The world hears the gospel when it sees it, when its witnesses are clearly committed to a more fully human future in this world and the next." Outler reminds us that seeing the gospel is often more helpful than simply hearing the gospel. I have taken a question Eric Swanson has asked and tweaked it for our context. Ponder this question for a moment. If Green Valley United Methodist Church suddenly disappeared, would the community mourn losing the blessings our church provides? Does our community see the gospel through us, as Outler suggests? Would our community miss seeing the good news if we were no longer here? As with the larger discipleship path, there are steps in our progression from serve us to service. As I describe each step, consider where you might be in this part of your journey. The beginning place we all begin at is a place of not being aware of the need to serve others. We could say we are oblivious to the needs around us or the abilities we each have to serve. God then begins to awaken us through God's grace. In the second step, we become aware of needs around us and begin sensing God's call for us to serve. The third step is where we begin to take action. We call this step missional gestures. Here we begin to spread our wings a bit and experience what a life of service begins to look like. It is an important step in becoming service-oriented as opposed to serve us, and it begins to move us from awareness to support. It generally requires little actual contact with those being served, and as a result, little or no relational connection is made. Some examples are facility use for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or AA, community meals, partnerships, school kits, health kits, offerings that we give, or donations. Let me add that missional gestures are important both in the actual help they provide and in helping us learn how to move from serve us to service. The fourth step is ministries of engagement. These acts of service move us from passively contributing to the support of those actually doing hands-on ministry to being engaged in hands-on ministry ourselves. This is the level of service where relationships are formed, needs are more deeply understood, and opportunities for transforming our communities are identified. A ministry of engagement will change our lives as well as the lives of others. Some examples are visiting, tutoring, sharing a meal, involved in a Celebrate Recovery group, mentoring, actual involvement in scouting programs, serving at a homeless shelter, or adopting a school. The final step from serve us to service is a heart or attitude of systemic change. Our love grows so deeply in this place that we're living a life of generosity to God and others. We begin to naturally see the needs around us and sense the nudge from God in how we can serve others in each moment. With this introduction to the 5 steps from serve us to service, let's see if we can define what service is. Service is about joining Jesus in ministry to the world, using our gifts and graces to engage others in ways that bring hope, healing, and wholeness to life. We look at our community with a sense of God's purposes as opportunities rather than difficulties. To be a disciple is to be a servant. To be the church is to serve. The church does not exist to serve us. It exists to serve the world, to transform the world. We must move from serve us to service. With this in mind, let's take a look at where God has placed Green Valley. This can help us become aware of the needs and begin to sense God's call in our lives to serve. The United Methodist Church works with a company that provides detailed demographics for the communities that churches are in. When we pull the information for the immediate area around Green Valley, we find that the highest single demographic is the autumn years, at about 17% of the population. People in the autumn years are established, mature couples moving into retirement. Adding several subcategories together, we also find that 28% of the immediate green area are boomers, those from the baby boomer generation. And while there are significant older generations in the area, digital dependents are a rising population. Digital dependents are younger people who, just as the name suggests, are dependent on technology. These assorted statistics can be helpful as we listen for God's nudge and how we can serve others both individually and as a church. Let's look a little further beyond our backyard. We're close to both Akron and Canton, which both have significant needs and opportunities to serve. For instance, in the greater Akron area, there are approximately 870 homeless people. More than 10% of Summit County teenagers have attempted suicide. Akron has a crime rate of 54 acts per 1,000 residents, has a graduation rate of 74%, and around 18% of the people are the lowest literacy capabilities. Again, we can look at these as statistics as problems, or we can see them as opportunities for service as God sees them. We can also become aware of needs around us by talking with community leaders, first responders, school principals, teachers, coaches, neighbors, and social service agencies. There are many ways that Green Valley is already serving others. To name a few, Green Valley serves others through pub theology, crew, shoot for a cause, sports and art camp, the food bank, and the caring ministry. As one of the next steps for the Discipleship 301, we are asking you to review the Servant Opportunities card, where you will find a more complete list of the current service opportunities at Green Valley. Then you'll have an option to select some of these ways to serve. While we have many areas you can serve with, we will also invite you to start something new. It could be a one-time service project or an ongoing ministry. You can serve others by tutoring, mentoring a student, adopting a local school, cooking a meal or sharing meals with others, visiting shut-ins, starting a support group like AA, Celebrate Recovery, or Grief Support, or help with single parents. Where do you see a need, and what are you passionate about? What are your gifts? While these service opportunities can be started right away, we do offer ministry creation training and a worksheet to help guide you through the process. This training and worksheet can be a way the church can be a resource and support your ministry. Another next step we are encouraging you to take is to complete this ministry creation worksheet below and then discuss your idea with the pastor so you can receive support and guidance with your idea. A final step we are asking you to complete is a SHAPE survey. SHAPE stands for Spiritual Gifts, Heart, Abilities, Personality, and Experience. This survey will help give you an idea of your strengths, gifts, and passion. It only takes several minutes of your time, but will be an invaluable help to you as you identify how you can serve and for the church as we develop and grow ministries. We will keep your survey in our database so that we can match you with service opportunities based on your gifts and interests. You will find instructions and a link below as well. I would like to remind you that this is Discipleship 301. There's an additional survey class, another next step I would encourage you to take, which is called Discipleship 401. You'll find more information about this survey class toward the bottom of this page as well. Each of the surveys take us a couple steps forward in our discipleship path and gives us ideas on how to continue to move forward. As we begin to wrap up this survey class, I want to express how I've really enjoyed our time together. Thank you for taking part in Discipleship 301. I pray that you have sensed God's grace active in your life even while participating in this survey class. Your participation demonstrates that God is already active in your life, inviting you forward in your journey. For me, that is truly exciting, to recognize that God is extending unique grace to each of us in each moment. What an amazing God we have, and what a meaningful journey we have ahead of us together. Remember that discipleship journey is done together. Allow me to remind us one more time what next steps we're asking you to take as a result of your participation today. Complete the SHAPE survey. Complete the Servant Opportunities card. Complete the Ministry Creation worksheet and discuss with the pastor. Complete the quick survey to help us improve. And attend the Discipleship 401 survey class. Again, you'll find the links for all these steps at the bottom of this page. And please never hesitate to call or email me with any questions or ideas you may have. Thank you again for taking this step of the journey with me today. I'm looking forward to our future next steps together.